Focus on yourself and stay silent. The world will reach a fever pitch of noise. Every algorithm will scream. Every voice will demand to be heard. Every person will fight for a moment in the spotlight. But the ones who will win, the ones who will reshape their entire existence, are those who choose a different path, those who choose silence. Silence is not the absence of sound. Silence is clarity. Silence is the foundation upon which empires are built. Silence is the act of reclaiming yourself before the world gets the chance to define you. This year is not about performing for cameras. It is not about broadcasting every milestone or seeking approval at every turn. This year is about becoming so utterly focused on your own evolution that people begin to wonder what you discovered that they missed. Most people will squander 2026 trapped in the comparison trap, watching others succeed, envying their paths, talking endlessly about what they'll do someday, but you will spend it creating. You will spend it building. You will spend it sharpening your mind and rising from a place of absolute internal conviction. As the chaos around you intensifies, allow yourself to breathe. Let the external world fade into background noise. These words are not meant to motivate you for a moment. They are meant to rewire how you operate, how you think, and who you become. This is not simply a new year. This is the beginning of a new version of you. Welcome to the year you become undeniable. The noise epidemic. Every single day, your consciousness is under assault. Notifications ping constantly. Social media feeds flood your attention. Other people's opinions echo in your mind. The world has perfected one skill: keeping you disconnected from yourself. Noise is not just sound. Noise is psychological pressure. Noise is the invisible weight of trying to keep pace with everyone else. Noise is the endless stream of content, the silent competition, the hunger for validation, the need to be witnessed. Noise is the thief that steals you from yourself. But here's what most people don't understand. In silence, you rediscover your own voice. Imagine your consciousness as a still body of water. When turbulence disturbs the surface, when emotions rage, when thoughts scatter, the reflection distorts. You cannot see yourself clearly. But when that water becomes perfectly calm, the reflection becomes unmistakable. Silence creates that stillness. Silence is what allows you to see who you actually are beneath all the layers. There exists a version of you underneath all the noise, under the roles you play, under the mask you've learned to wear. A version that knows exactly what it wants, a version that remembers your authentic desires. But you cannot hear that voice while you're running toward everyone else's definition of success. Silence becomes uncomfortable at first, because when the noise finally stops, you must face what you've been avoiding. Feelings of emptiness, fear of inadequacy, regrets you've buried, dreams you abandoned years ago. Silence becomes a mirror, and many people avoid mirrors because they're terrified of their own reflection. But only those brave enough to face themselves can actually transform. Imagine stepping into a reality where no one judges you, where your past holds no power over you, where your future is completely blank, waiting for you to write it. Who would you become? What would you create? What would you actually choose? The answers already exist inside you. They only emerge when you stop long enough to listen. The sacred power of silence. The fastest way to lose yourself is by constantly watching what others are doing. The fastest way to find yourself is to stop and listen to your own inner wisdom. When external noise finally pauses, something extraordinary happens. You begin to hear thoughts that have always been present. Quiet wisdom, intuition, your deepest knowing. Your life truly begins when you learn to pay attention to these whispers. Silence is not empty. Silence overflows with answers. When you allow silence to exist, even just for a few minutes, your nervous system settles, your breathing deepens, your racing thoughts finally slow down. A space opens up between what you feel and how you react. In that space, genuine clarity is born. Your mind, once turbulent, becomes like fertile ground where new possibilities can take root. The world is engineered to keep you reactive. You respond to notifications, you react to comments, you respond to drama. Silence transforms you into someone intentional, someone who chooses rather than reacts. Sitting in silence, something profound happens. You begin to distinguish between what truly belongs to you and what was placed on you by external pressure. Some beliefs you carry aren't actually your beliefs. Some dreams you chase aren't actually your dreams. Some fears that wake you at night are inherited fears. When you sit alone with yourself, you finally get to ask, is this even mine? That one question alone can redirect years of your life. There is immense power in stillness. Revolutionary ideas are born in silence. Self-respect is built in silence. True vision is crafted in silence. The people who transform their lives don't start by making noise. They start by going quiet. They pause, they think, they observe, and choose deliberately. Silence is not passivity. Silence is the preparation ground for action. Think of an archer preparing for the most important shot of their life. The moment before the release is pure stillness. The body becomes motionless. The breath becomes measured. The mind becomes laser-focused. In that suspended moment, silence becomes power. Then comes the release. Silence prepares you to aim your life in the right direction. Instead of shooting in all directions and hoping something lands, when you finally get quiet, you recognize the difference between meaningless activity and real progress, between checking boxes and actually becoming someone new, between what receives applause and what your soul is actually calling you toward. Perhaps you've been running for a long time, running from disappointment, running from becoming a version of yourself you never wanted to be, running from pain you didn't know how to process. But silence stops you. It makes you ask, what am I really escaping? What am I actually moving toward? Who am I becoming through all this running? True transformation doesn't happen on stage in front of an audience. It happens in private moments when you're honest with yourself, when you admit what genuinely hurts, when you acknowledge what you actually want, when you allow yourself to dream again. Your identity begins shifting in silence, because identity is not changed through force or willpower. It's rewritten through awareness and honest self-examination. You cannot change what you cannot see. You cannot see anything in a hurricane. So tonight, let silence become your sanctuary. Let the world stay outside. Let expectations dissolve.
Let the voices of others fade until the only voice remaining is your own. Because the moment you truly hear yourself is the moment your real life begins. Power is never loud. Power is rarely expressed through volume. True power is quiet. It whispers. It doesn't need to explain itself. It simply is. Most people misunderstand what strength actually looks like. They believe it's about dominance, about being noticed, about controlling the narrative. They think power means being the loudest voice in the room, but this is a fundamental misunderstanding. The strongest forces in existence are silent. Gravity doesn't announce itself, yet it holds galaxies together. Time doesn't speak, yet it reshapes everything. A river doesn't roar with intention, yet it carves through mountains over centuries. Power is not about noise. Power is about impact. Your silence becomes your greatest weapon. Silence is control, control of your energy, control of your reactions, control of where your attention flows. When you refuse to engage in every argument, every drama, every battle for attention, you reclaim your power from the world. You stop letting noise determine who you are. You stop fighting wars that aren't yours to fight. Silence becomes a shield between your energy and the chaos surrounding you. Consider a sword. Its power comes from being sharp, which requires being refined, precise, narrow. Your focus works the same way. Too many thoughts, too many conflicting desires, too many external voices, these things dull your edge. Silence sharpens it. Inside silence, your energy returns home. Noise scatters you. It disperses your thoughts, your emotions, your power across 1,000 different directions. Every argument you participate in costs you something. Every person you try to impress carries away a piece of you. Every toxic opinion you absorb drains your reserve. Silence is the practice of gathering those scattered pieces back together. It is the reclamation of yourself. People often talk constantly because they're afraid of silence. They fill every gap with words because they fear their own mind. They speak to prove they belong, to prevent misunderstanding, to hide their insecurity. But silence does something radical. It forces others to reveal who they actually are. When you speak, people hear you. When you're silent, you hear them. Silence becomes a mirror of truth. It shows you who respects your boundaries, who only appears when you're useful, who genuinely stays when you have nothing left to give. The most brilliant minds throughout history protected silence like a sacred treasure. They understood something fundamental. Words carry energy, and energy is finite. Every sentence you speak costs you. Every word drains your reserve. If what you're saying doesn't serve your direction, it's wasted. When you learn to master silence, you master your own trajectory. Silence is also the marker of emotional maturity. Anyone can react. Anyone can explode in anger or hurt. Anyone can speak impulsively. That requires nothing. What's rare, what's actually difficult, is the ability to pause, to sit with discomfort, to let emotions settle before responding. Silence is emotional discipline. Silence is what separates children from adults. Reflect on your strongest moments, not the loud ones filled with adrenaline, the moment you walked away instead of fighting, the moment you cried alone and decided something fundamental had to change, the moment you told no one your plan and built it quietly. Growth doesn't announce itself, it happens in secret. The gateway to identity. Silence changes who you are because silence creates space, and inside that space, you get to choose. You choose who you're becoming. You choose what actually matters. You choose what stays, what leaves, what grows, what dies. Most people are loud because they need the world to confirm their existence, but the person who is genuinely becoming someone doesn't need that external confirmation anymore. Their validation comes from an internal source. They're walking toward a version of themselves the world hasn't met yet. Silence is not weakness. Silence is intentional. It's the refusal to waste words on those who won't listen anyway. It's the discipline to control your own story instead of constantly explaining it to others. It's the commitment to build something remarkable and worth speaking about later instead of speaking now with nothing yet to show. Silence is the bridge between who you currently are and who you're becoming. You begin to understand that not everyone deserves access to your thoughts. Not every reaction deserves your voice. You don't owe the world explanations, access to your process, or previews of your plans. There is tremendous power in being misunderstood. A life that's moving forward becomes obvious without being announced. Silence also protects something sacred, your energy. Energy is the currency of all creation. What you build, who you love, what you become, all of it requires energy. The world steals energy in subtle ways, through gossip, through unnecessary drama, through endless explanations and defenses, through perfectionism. Silence becomes the gatekeeper. When you choose silence, you choose to conserve your energy. You choose strategy. You choose long-term transformation over short-term validation. There comes a moment when, if you stay silent long enough, everything shifts. Your silence stops being a defensive reaction and becomes your foundation, a fortress where you finally feel safe enough to think clearly, to feel fully, to dream again. In that fortress, you no longer need permission from the world. This is when true transformation occurs. Silence ultimately gives you ownership, ownership of your mind, ownership of your emotions, ownership of your path. When you truly understand silence, you stop chasing power. You realize you've been power all along. One day you will speak, and when you do, your words won't be small. They'll carry the weight of every single day you spent silent, building, growing, becoming. People will listen not because you demand their attention, but because silence has rebuilt you into someone who no longer needs noise to exist. Power is not loud. Power is felt, and silence is where power is born. The currency of attention. Your life becomes whatever you repeatedly give your attention to. Not what you dream about, not what you talk about, not what you plan or hope will happen someday. Your life becomes the direction of your focus. Focus is not a skill. Focus is a resource. It's the most valuable asset you will ever possess, and yet most people give it away carelessly, unconsciously, constantly. Attention is currency. Every time you scroll, you're making a payment. Every time you enter an argument, you're making a payment. Every time you react instead of choosing, you're making a payment. The problem isn't that people lack potential. The problem is that they're bankrupt in attention before they even begin. You must reclaim your focus, because without it, you have absolutely nothing.
The modern world is specifically engineered to steal your attention. Platforms are designed by teams of engineers whose job is to addict you. Apps send notifications designed to trigger your anxiety. People compete for your awareness. Even your own thoughts distract you from your mission. You cannot build anything meaningful if your mind is fragmented across 1,000 different places. Every major achievement, every business built, every book written, every legacy created, every life transformed was built by someone who mastered their attention. Reclaiming your focus begins with one revolutionary realization. Not everything deserves your attention. Your life becomes lighter and more powerful the moment you start removing things instead of adding them. Focus isn't about doing more. Focus is about doing less, but with absolute intensity. Sit with that for a moment. Most people don't fail because they don't try hard enough. They fail because they try too many things, too many competing priorities, too many open projects, too many emotional entanglements, too many small drains. No energy left for the one thing that actually matters. You reclaim your focus by deciding what matters and letting everything else fall away. Ask yourself, what is stealing my attention? What drains me without giving anything back? What am I still carrying that isn't mine to hold? Awareness is the first cut. When you start seeing where your attention actually goes, you see who controls your life. If someone can trigger you emotionally, they own a piece of your mind. If a notification can pull you away from your purpose, it owns a piece of your future. If a voice from your past can still stop you in your tracks, it owns a piece of your identity. Reclaiming your focus means reclaiming ownership, and ownership begins with boundaries. Boundaries with people, boundaries with noise, boundaries with yourself. Focus is a discipline.
It's a quiet, daily, repeated choice. It's choosing to begin instead of waiting for the perfect moment. It's choosing to continue when your motivation evaporates. It's choosing to finish when no one else is watching. It's choosing to keep going when the path gets hard. Focus feels like resistance at first. Your mind pushes back. Your emotions pull you backward. Your old habits whisper for you to return to what's comfortable. Distraction is familiar. Distraction feels safe. Distraction requires nothing from you. Focus demands everything. Focus reveals who you're becoming. Inside silence, your mind becomes a mirror. You'll notice how often your attention tries to escape. You'll see how your thoughts jump from place to place. You'll feel impulses trying to pull you in different directions. Most people never notice because they never pause long enough to watch their own mind. To reclaim your focus, you must slow down enough to see. See where you leak energy. See where you distract yourself. See where you abandon your goals simply out of habit. Focus is reclaimed in stillness. When noise stops, you finally hear yourself. When distraction fades, you finally see your direction. When the world no longer has access to your mind, you get to decide who you're becoming. You reclaim your focus by returning to the moment, returning to your breath, returning to the task, returning to the reason you started in the first place. Your life will change the moment you commit to this, one thing at a time, 1 hour, one task, one priority, one standard. The reason most people never become who they could be isn't because they chose the wrong things. It's because they never stayed committed long enough. Repetition creates identity. Consistency creates results. Focus creates transformation. Imagine protecting just 1 hour each day, one sacred hour of pure focus, completely undistracted, completely unavailable to the world. Most people think transformation requires years. It doesn't. Transformation requires one focused hour, repeated relentlessly. Most of your suffering comes from fragmented energy, wanting but hesitating, dreaming but not acting, starting but never committing. Focus is alignment. Focus is deciding that every part of you will move in the same direction. Not pieces of you scattered everywhere, not part of your mind here and there. Complete alignment. The moment your consciousness unifies around a single direction, something awakens inside you. You feel strength, you feel certainty, you stop doubting yourself, you stop negotiating with yourself, you stop comparing yourself to others because there's no room left for anything except your mission. Reclaiming your focus is reclaiming your future. It's also reclaiming your peace. When you stop letting distractions own you, life becomes quieter. Your nervous system relaxes. Your chest feels lighter. Your mind clarifies. You realize most of the chaos you experienced wasn't external. It was your attention trapped in places it didn't belong. One day, when you've reclaimed enough focus, you'll notice a shift. The world will still be loud, but it won't move you. People will still talk, but they won't influence you. Noise will still exist, but you'll move through it untouched. Because focus isn't just something you do. Focus is someone you become. You become the kind of person whose attention is intentional. You become someone whose energy is sacred. You become someone who chooses instead of reacts. You become someone the world cannot distract because you've already decided where you're going. Your only real opponent. You've spent years racing against people that never mattered. You've compared your beginning to someone else's middle. You've measured your worth through the eyes of strangers, through social feeds, through expectations, through noise. But eventually, life brings you to a quiet truth that's so simple and so powerful. Your only real competition is the version of yourself from yesterday. There's a version of you that is loud, insecure, reactive, driven by fear, shaped by the world's opinions. And there's also a version of you that is quiet, grounded, intentional, unstoppable. These two versions exist simultaneously inside you. One is who you were, one is who you're becoming. Every single day, you choose which one wins. Comparison is a thief. It steals your joy. It kills your focus. It blinds you to your own unique path. When you look too long at what others are doing, you forget to look at yourself. You forget that your life is built by your hands, not theirs. Your path belongs only to you. It's unique. It's non-linear. It's sacred. You're not late. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be on your own timeline. The world has conditioned you to believe life is a race, that there's a finish line you must cross before others, that there's a standard you must meet. But the moment you step out of this illusion, something shifts. You breathe. You slow down. You realize there is no finish line, only evolution, endless evolution.
You're not here to win against other people. You're here to win against who you were. Every single day, in private, with no one watching, you face an internal battle that no one else can see. A battle between comfort and your calling, between staying the same and growth, between the identity you know and the identity you must become. Your lower self whispers excuses. It delays action. It clings to who you were because change is terrifying. It loves safety. It loves predictability. It loves the familiar, even when the familiar hurts you. Your highest self is different. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg. It doesn't try to convince you. It simply waits patiently for you to choose it. Growth requires choosing, not just once, but daily. Choosing discipline when your feelings say quit. Choosing direction when everything feels unclear. Choosing silence instead of proving yourself. Choosing long-term identity over short-term comfort. Your only real opponent is the resistance inside you, the part that wants to stay the same, the part that says tomorrow, the part that negotiates every decision. That's your enemy. That's who you must defeat. The world will try to distract you, but distraction only works when the enemy already lives within you. When your attention belongs to others, so does your life. When your identity is shaped by comparison, your path becomes impossible to see. When you wait for permission, you surrender your power. You win when you reclaim yourself. Focus on victories no one will ever see or applaud. Waking up before dawn when it's dark and cold and no one notices. Choosing discipline when absolutely no one is watching. Writing plans when no one will ever read them. Saying no when saying yes would be easier. This is where transformation happens. This is how you become a different person. Your transformation won't happen in a single dramatic moment. It will happen through countless microscopic choices that no one witnesses. No applause, no recognition, only a quiet knowing that you're moving closer to the life you were actually meant to live. Imagine this. Every night before sleep, you meet the version of yourself you could have become if you hadn't given up, if you hadn't postponed your dreams, if you hadn't abandoned yourself for comfort. That version is real. It's waiting. It watches you. It knows your potential. It wants you to rise. Competition becomes truly powerful when it becomes internal. When instead of asking, how far ahead are they, you ask, how far have I actually come? When instead of asking, what are they doing, you ask, who am I becoming? Self-comparison transforms into self-respect. Pressure transforms into peace. Progress transforms into a new identity. Here's the truth. You don't become unstoppable when the world believes in you. You become unstoppable when you no longer need them to believe. You are enough not because you feel like it sometimes. You are enough because you decide you are. Be better than yesterday through one decision, one habit, one thought, one refusal to repeat the same mistake. Progress isn't measured in massive leaps. Progress is measured in inches. The person who improves by 1% each day becomes unrecognizable within a year. When the voice inside your head says, slow down, stop, settle, ask yourself, is this my lower self speaking or my highest self? Then choose. Choose consciously, choose quietly, choose with full power. You are your own competition. You are your own standard. You are your own measurement. You are your own responsibility. One day, not far from now, you'll look in the mirror and see someone different, not a reflection of who you were, but evidence of who you built. You'll see the proof, and you'll know it was always you against you, and you won. Energy, your true currency. Your life is powered by energy, not by time, not by talent, not by luck. Energy is the fuel behind every decision, every habit, every achievement. You can have unlimited time available, but with no energy, nothing gets built. You can dream endlessly, but without energy, nothing becomes real. This is why some people work all day and collapse at night exhausted with nothing to show, because their time was spent, but their energy was depleted. Energy is your most valuable resource, and yet most people give it away thoughtlessly. They give it to arguments they never needed to have. They give it to people who never earned access to them. They give it to thoughts that destroy them. They give it to situations that don't matter. Most people spend their energy the way broke people spend money, impulsively, emotionally, without thinking. If you ever want to rise, evolve, or truly transform, you must become wealthy in energy. You must guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Your energy is your boundary. Your energy is your identity. Your energy determines whether you create something remarkable or simply survive another day. Think of yourself as a battery. Every day begins with a limited charge. Every conversation, every decision, every distraction, every emotional experience drains a percentage. But most people never ask the crucial question, what is actually draining me? Energy drains silently. It drains through obsessive thinking about things you can't control. It drains through unfinished projects that haunt you. It drains through resentment you're holding on to. It drains through noise and chaos. It drains through guilt and shame. It drains through trying to make everyone happy. It drains through scrolling mindlessly. It drains through relationships built on habit instead of genuine connection. Everything either gives you energy or takes it. People, environments, habits, conversations, memories. Sit with this truth. You cannot build a powerful life from a depleted state. When your energy is low, you tolerate things you should end. You stay in situations you should leave. You hold on to things you should release. You shrink where you should step forward. But when your energy is high, everything changes. Discipline becomes natural. Clarity becomes effortless. Fear becomes tiny. Your mind sharpens. Your vision becomes magnetic. You move differently because you feel different. Protecting your energy begins with permission. Permission to step back. Permission to disconnect. Permission to say no without explaining. Permission to rest without guilt. Most exhaustion isn't physical, it's emotional. It's the fatigue of constantly being everywhere except inside yourself. You protect your energy when you stop over-explaining yourself to people. You protect your energy when you stop proving your worth. You protect your energy when you stop responding to everything immediately. You protect your energy when you stop giving access to people who consistently drain you. Energy wealth is built through boundaries, invisible lines that declare, this is mine, my time isn't free, my mind isn't public property, my heart isn't open to anyone. Boundaries aren't walls, boundaries are doors. Doors you control, doors you choose to open or close. Not everyone deserves access.
Protecting your energy also means stopping internal leaks. Leaks like constant self-doubt, guilt, shame, regret. These drain more than external distractions ever could. Your past drains energy simply by being remembered. Your fears drain energy by replaying worst-case scenarios. Your perfectionism drains energy by telling you nothing is ever good enough. To protect your energy, you must forgive. Not for them, but for yourself. Forgiveness isn't a gift to others. Forgiveness is a key that unlocks your energy from the past. Letting go isn't weakness. Letting go is freedom. It's deciding you won't pay emotional rent for something that already happened. Protecting your energy also means simplifying. The more clutter in your life, mental, emotional, physical, the more energy gets consumed. Every unfinished task is a silent drain. Every unmade decision drains energy just by existing. Every maybe steals more energy than a clear yes or no ever will. Simplicity is power, because simplicity protects energy. Your digital life matters too. Your phone is a doorway, and every notification is an invitation for your energy to leave. Your social feeds are battlefields. Every comparison is a debt you take on. Your attention is what the world is trying to purchase, because whoever owns your attention owns your life. Protecting your energy is deciding where your attention actually goes. Start noticing what makes you feel lighter and what makes you feel heavier. Your energy speaks before your conscious mind catches up. Pay attention to how you feel when someone enters the room. Pay attention to your body's reaction when you think of a task. Pay attention to the weight in your chest when you say yes, while everything inside you is screaming no. Listen to your energy. It always knows before you do. Protecting your energy might require solitude, silence, distance, being misunderstood. People will say you've changed. They'll be right. You weren't born to spend your life depleted for the sake of being liked. Protecting your energy might mean losing some people. Some relationships only work when you're exhausted, available, and small. Once you protect your energy, those relationships can't survive. Let them go. Don't make yourself smaller to keep people you don't actually need. Don't exhaust yourself maintaining versions of yourself the world prefers. Don't apologize for choosing your own life. Protecting your energy is protecting your future, because your future is built through the energy you have available today. You must become the guardian of your inner world. You must become the gatekeeper of your attention. You must become the protector of your emotional state, because your state becomes your fate. One day, not far from now, you'll wake up feeling genuinely energized. You'll feel clarity instead of confusion. You'll feel strength instead of fear. You'll feel purpose instead of pressure. And you'll realize you didn't get there by accident. You got there because you stopped letting the world drain your energy. Energy is gold, the rarest kind. Protect it, spend it wisely, invest it into building the life you're meant to live. Building in the darkness. Silence isn't just a shield. Silence is a construction site. It's where you lay the foundation the world will one day walk on. It's where you shape the version of yourself they'll eventually meet. True transformation isn't loud. Growth isn't a public performance. It's a private contract between you and the person you're becoming. When you choose to build in silence, you choose focus. Noise demands you perform. Silence demands you create. Most dreams die in public because they're exposed to opinions, pressure, and judgment before they're strong enough to survive. The moment you announce something, you invite scrutiny. The moment you start explaining, you start negotiating with people's doubts. The moment you seek validation, you weaken your own belief. Silence protects your vision while it's still fragile. A seed doesn't grow in daylight. It grows underground where no one can see. Roots form in darkness. Identity shifts where no one can watch. Habits are built when no one is paying attention. Most people want results without doing the hidden work. They want recognition before they've earned it. They want admiration without discipline. That's why they never change. To build in silence means learning to live without an audience. It means waking early when everyone else sleeps. It means training when no one sees you. It means learning while others are distracted. It means showing up when recognition isn't coming. It means being okay with not being noticed because you're too focused on becoming. Growth is sacred. Silence protects what's sacred. Inside silence, you become a different kind of person, someone who no longer needs external proof to keep going, someone who doesn't require outside fuel to move forward. Your discipline becomes internal. Your confidence becomes quiet. Your belief becomes immovable. When you build in silence, you stop explaining your moves. You stop telling everyone what you're planning. You simply do it. You stop waiting for permission. You take action. Explanation wastes energy. Energy builds what matters. Learn this truth. People judge what they can see. They cannot judge what remains hidden. Protecting your process is protecting your peace. There will be moments when the silence feels isolating. Moments when the old version of you begs for attention and validation. Moments when you wonder if anyone will ever notice. But understand this. Silence isn't isolation. Silence is incubation. Your dreams are still alive. They're simply growing where eyes cannot reach. Silence is also where you learn to exist with yourself, the raw, unfiltered you. It's where you face your weaknesses without shame, where you confront your insecurities without distraction, where you admit what you truly want without watering it down for other people's comfort. Most people never meet their potential because they never spend enough time alone. They fear what they might discover about themselves. They fear seeing what still needs to change. But you're here because you're willing to do what most won't. As you build in silence, you begin to separate. You separate from noise, from artificial timelines, from comparison, from other people's expectations, from who you used to be. This separation isn't loss. This is evolution. You're not abandoning people. You're abandoning old versions of yourself. Here's the paradox. The quieter you become, the louder your life becomes later. Results speak a language the world cannot ignore. When your life changes, they notice. When your energy shifts, they feel it. When you walk into a room with a different presence, they sense it. You won't need to speak. Your life will speak for you.
One day, long after you've stopped explaining yourself, someone will ask, "How did you actually do it?" You'll smile, because the real story isn't in words. The story is in who you've become. Silence teaches emotional freedom. When you don't broadcast your journey, you stop attaching your identity to specific outcomes. You stop needing to succeed quickly for validation. You stop needing approval to feel worthy. You begin building slowly, intentionally, with patience. Because you finally understand things that grow fast often break fast. Things that grow slowly endure. Let your life unfold slowly. Let your becoming be gradual. Let your transformation take time. Everything truly great does. Building in silence is choosing mastery over applause. It's choosing depth over performance. It's choosing legacy over attention. It's choosing to become someone the world cannot ignore without ever asking to be seen. There will come a moment, quiet, private, when your results begin appearing. Maybe it's a clarity in your eyes that wasn't there before. Maybe it's financial abundance you've built. Maybe it's a peace in your nervous system. Maybe it's the boundaries you finally learned to hold. Maybe it's looking in the mirror and recognizing strength you didn't know you possessed. That moment isn't accidental, it's proof. Proof of every silent day, every quiet hour, every private choice, every night you didn't betray yourself. And when the world eventually notices, when people begin asking questions, you won't need applause because you'll already know you became it long before they saw it. Keep building quietly. Keep working relentlessly. Keep believing patiently. Let silence be your tool. Let discipline be your blueprint. Let time be the architect. Let your results speak your name. The engine of transformation. If silence is your shield, then discipline is your engine. Transformation doesn't happen because you wish for it. It happens because you show up.
Not loudly, not perfectly, but consistently. Discipline is the most underrated power in our world because it's not glamorous, it's not dramatic, it doesn't get photographed, it doesn't ask for applause. It works quietly until your entire life changes. Discipline is not the same as motivation. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fuel. Motivation makes you start. Discipline makes you finish. Motivation is emotion. Discipline is identity. When you rely on motivation, you only act when you feel inspired. When you rely on discipline, you act regardless of how you feel. That's why disciplined people win. They don't negotiate with their emotions, they negotiate with their standards. The 1% principle. Small wins that reshape your foundation. Transformation rarely arrives in dramatic moments. It arrives through small improvements that compound silently. 10 minutes of reading, 20 push-ups, writing 1 paragraph, choosing water instead of sugary drinks, sleeping early instead of scrolling. These choices are tiny, but their cumulative effect is enormous. Most people fail because they wait for perfect conditions, perfect timing, perfect energy, perfect plans. But you don't need perfect, you only need consistent. Your future self is being built every single day through small acts no one witnesses. That's the miracle of discipline. You transform simply by repeating until repetition becomes who you are. Your habits are the skeleton of your entire life. Look at your day, where you wake up, what you do first, who you respond to, whether you train, learn, or drift. These patterns construct your identity. Your routines aren't just tasks, they're silent declarations about what you believe. Brushing your teeth isn't hygiene, it's self-respect. Reading isn't just information gathering, it's expansion. Working isn't just output, it's alignment. Training isn't just physical exercise, it's building trust in yourself. Every habit you keep sends a message, I am worth showing up for. Every habit you abandon whispers, I don't believe in myself. Atomic discipline, breaking your life into atoms. Think of your day as atoms, tiny decisions accumulating. Your goal isn't to control your entire life path, but to control the next 5 minutes. The future overwhelms you when you think in years. It becomes manageable when you think in moments. Discipline is choosing the next aligned action, not trying to control the entire journey at once. Drink the water, open the book, stand and stretch. Begin the task for just 2 minutes. Action creates momentum. Momentum creates clarity. Clarity creates direction. Direction creates transformation. Routines are your sanctuary. Discipline isn't force. Discipline is Zen. It's the peace of doing the same thing calmly every day without needing external noise or validation. The master doesn't train to feel powerful. The master trains until power becomes quiet, natural, invisible. Your routine is a temple where you meet yourself, where you choose between letting your emotions run you or letting your mission guide you. Wake before the noise begins. Work before the world demands your attention. Learn before opinions contaminate your thinking. Your morning is your throne. Protect it fiercely. Discipline builds self-trust. Many people lack genuine confidence not because they lack ability, but because they break promises to themselves. Confidence isn't a personality trait. Confidence is a relationship. When you say you'll do something and you actually do it, you build trust. When you say you'll do something and you don't, you destroy trust. Discipline repairs that relationship with yourself. Every completed task is a deposit of self-respect. Your greatest wealth is knowing I can rely on myself. Real identity transformation. True discipline isn't forcing yourself to do things you hate. True discipline is becoming the kind of person who naturally does what matters. When a runner identifies as a runner, training isn't a struggle. It's natural. When a reader identifies as a reader, reading isn't a task, it's effortless. When you identify as someone who keeps promises to yourself, discipline becomes automatic. Stop asking, how do I stay disciplined? Start asking, who would I become if discipline was second nature? The answer to that question is the person waiting for you. 2026 is your choice to choose discipline or distraction. The modern enemy of transformation isn't laziness, it's distraction. Every notification is a hook trying to pull you away. Every opinion is a detour. Every scroll is a leak in your energy. Without discipline, the world owns your attention. With discipline, your attention becomes a weapon. Pick one thing today that brings you closer to your future. One skill, one task, one commitment. Then protect it ferociously as if your life depends on it, because it does. The beauty of quiet greatness. There will be days when discipline feels boring, when repetition feels dull, when progress is invisible. That's exactly when most people quit, right before the compounding magic happens. Greatness isn't exciting. It's quiet. It's repetitive. It's unglamorous. Endurance.
Alone in the gym, alone at your desk, alone in your journal, alone grinding. And then, after months of silence, you wake up and realize you're not the same person anymore. You're disciplined, you're clear, you're unshakable. That is transformation. Not loud, but inevitable. Let this be your covenant with yourself. Whisper it internally where identity is written. I show up even when I don't feel like it. I honor my future. I build slowly. I move quietly. I transform daily. I trust myself. Discipline is who I am. The sacred practice of silence and reflection. Not every seed is meant to be shown while it's still in the soil. Some transformations demand darkness. Some growth requires privacy. Some versions of you can only be born when no one is watching. One of the biggest mistakes people make is announcing their transformation before it has roots. Sharing plans, sharing dreams, sharing goals, sharing routines, exposing them to noise, opinions, doubts, and projections before they're strong enough to survive. Silence isn't hiding. Silence is incubation. It's where your new identity grows unseen, untouched, and protected. When you begin building a new life, you don't need witnesses. You need space. You don't need applause. You need air. You don't need validation from others. You need time. Genuine greatness is rarely born on stage in front of an audience. It's born through private discipline, quiet routines, and victories no one sees. A musician becomes a virtuoso long before their first concert. A leader becomes extraordinary long before the first investor believes in them. A champion becomes unstoppable before winning any medals. Transformation happens first. Recognition comes later. Your life becomes lighter, purer, more focused the moment you stop performing and start becoming. Why? Because you must protect your becoming. There are 3 forces that destroy early transformation if you expose it. First is opinion. People will misunderstand you. They'll project their limitations onto you. Second is energy drain. Others will pull your attention away from your work. Third is false progress. When you talk about becoming something, your brain mistakes talking for actual change. You feel like you're progressing when you're just speaking. The feeling of progress dies. When you post every step online, you dilute your focus. Your attention shifts from results to reactions, from becoming to being seen. You weren't born to be watched. You were born to create. Quiet growth is sacred. Imagine a seed underground. If you dig it up every day to check on it, it will never grow. If you protect it, water it, nourish it, shield it, it breaks through the soil with strength.
Your goals, habits, and identity are seeds. They don't need exposure. They need protection. Silence is the greenhouse that gives you strength before the world sees you. Learn in silence, train in silence, build in silence, heal in silence, practice discipline in silence, because silence is where weakness becomes strength and strength becomes identity. The art of not sharing. In a world addicted to broadcasting everything, choosing privacy is a radical power. You don't need to announce your plans. You don't need to explain your routines. You don't need to justify your decisions. You don't need to defend your priorities. You don't need to convince anyone of anything. You owe the world no broadcast. The world isn't entitled to your process. They're only invited to see your results. Let them wonder, let them guess, let them ask, how did you actually do it? Your silence will answer for you better than any explanation could. The freedom of private progress. When no one knows what you're working on, no one can judge it. No one can interfere. No one can influence your direction. You're free to restart without shame, free to fail without an audience, free to change direction without needing permission. Freedom isn't just physical, it's psychological. You cannot genuinely grow when you feel watched. You cannot experiment when you feel judged. Creativity suffocates under expectation. Identity crumbles under comparison. Your privacy isn't a wall, it's oxygen. Silent becoming. There will be nights when you're alone with your goals and the entire world sleeps. There will be mornings when you wake before dawn and no one applauds. Those moments are sacred. Every quiet morning, every silent decision, every unseen sacrifice is a brick in your future. Silent becoming is choosing this truth. I would rather build quietly for years than collapse publicly in weeks. Let results speak. You'll know it's time to speak when your actions have written a story that cannot be denied. Results are a language, proof is a voice, mastery is a megaphone. And when you walk into 2026 with receipts, with skill, with discipline, with abundance, with inner power, you won't need to announce anything. Your presence will announce you. Your silence will have matured into an aura. An aura needs no introduction. When silence becomes your nature, when you stop needing to be seen, you become genuinely unstoppable because the world loses its power to you. Opinions become background noise, comparison becomes irrelevant, validation becomes unnecessary. When silence becomes your identity, you stop chasing, you start attracting. People will ask, "Where have you been? Why did you step back? How did you transform?" And you'll smile, because the world watched itself while you were watching your destiny. The mirror of honesty. There is a mirror that never lies. It's not made of glass, it's made of absolute honesty. You meet this mirror every night when the world becomes quiet, when notifications disappear, when your identity has no audience, when it's just you and yourself. Reflection is the moment you face truth, not what you claim to be, not what you perform for others, but who you're actually becoming. Silence creates space. Reflection reveals truth. Most people avoid silence because it forces them to meet themselves. Noise is protective. It gives you escape, distraction, and excuses. Silence removes that protection, and suddenly you can hear your own thoughts, your fears, your real desires, your patterns, your lies, your potential. Reflection is the practice of observing your inner world as if you're watching the sky, with distance, with curiosity, without judgment. Thoughts pass like clouds, emotions rise like storms, memories echo like thunder, but you remain the observer. Your journal, your sacred space. A journal isn't just paper, it's a battlefield, it's a confession booth, it's a map, it's a time machine, it's a mirror. When you write, you remove the mask, you drop the performance, you speak with a voice that never needs external approval.
Your journal will show you what you avoid, what genuinely frightens you, what you secretly crave, where you self-sabotage, where you're actually strong, where you lie to yourself. Most people never succeed because they never stop long enough to understand themselves. Writing is how you gain clarity instead of losing yourself. Reflection equals understanding. Your life is built of patterns. Your habits repeat, your beliefs repeat, your failures repeat, your excuses repeat, your victories repeat. Reflection is how you see the pattern and consciously decide what continues and what stops. Without reflection, life happens by default. With reflection, life happens by design. Observing without judgment. Growth dies when you judge yourself harshly. Growth begins when you observe with curiosity. Don't say, "I failed, I'm weak." Instead, ask, "I failed, what caused it? What can I learn?" Don't say, "I abandoned my discipline." Ask, "What triggered the break?" Don't say, "I slipped." Ask, "How will I return?" Reflection isn't punishment. Reflection is strategy. Night reflection, morning intention. The night reviews what happened. The morning prepares what's coming. Night asks, "What did I actually do today?" Morning asks, "What will I do today?" Practice both and you live a controlled life instead of a reactive one. One moment of reflection can redirect 6 months of wrong direction. Reflection builds identity. You're not who you want to be. You're not who you claim to be. You're what you repeatedly do. Reflection reminds you whether your daily actions align with your future identity or betray it. Write these questions often. Did my actions today honor the person I want to become? If I live this way for another year, who will I become? Am I building a lifestyle or performing for cameras? Identity isn't changed through goals. Identity is changed through awareness of every single choice. Silence plus reflection equals self-mastery. Silence removes noise. Reflection reveals truth. Together, they give you power. Without silence, you cannot hear your truth. Without reflection, you cannot respond to your truth. People fear these practices because they fear the version of themselves they might meet. But the version that scares you is usually the version that can save you. The test of brutal honesty. Sit with yourself and ask these hard questions. What am I doing that destroys my future? Who am I allowing to drain my energy? Where am I pretending instead of practicing? What am I afraid to admit? What do I know I must do but keep avoiding? If these questions make you uncomfortable, that's where growth actually lives. Reflection without broadcasting. Your reflection is sacred. It's not meant for the world. People cannot understand what they didn't live. Your journal is your sanctuary. You owe no one access to it. When you reflect privately, you build power without the weight of judgment or the distortion of others' expectations. Let your transformation be a secret until it becomes undeniable. Reflection makes you untouchable. A person who reflects regularly never stays lost for long. While others drift, you redirect. While others repeat the same mistakes, you extract lessons. While others regret, you rebuild. Reflection breaks cycles before they become your fate. Your life is a mirror. If your life is chaotic, your mind is chaotic. If your relationships drain you, your boundaries are weak. If your goals remain dreams, your discipline is missing. Everything external is a reflection of something internal. Reflection lets you see it so you can change it, instead of blaming everything around you. The final shift, becoming the observer. When reflection becomes automatic, you stop reacting and start choosing. You no longer drown in emotions. You watch them rise and fall like weather. You no longer collapse under failure. You study it. You no longer fear silence.
you crave it, because silence is where you become real. Write one sentence in your journal tonight. If I repeat today for the next 365 days, who will I become? If the answer frightens you, congratulations. You've just found your doorway to a new life. The year of transformation. There will come a year when your life shifts so dramatically that who you were before becomes unrecognizable. 2026 is that year. Not because the calendar changed, not because the world gave you something, but because you changed, because you stopped surrendering your power. This is the year you stop explaining, stop announcing, stop proving, stop performing, stop waiting. This is the year you build, the year you become, the year you rise without needing noise, without needing applause, without waiting for permission. The identity shift. Becoming untouchable isn't about being cold, silent, or distant. It's about becoming so anchored to your purpose that no opinion sways you, no gossip shakes you, no rejection defines you, no distraction steals you. An untouchable person isn't someone no one can hurt. An untouchable person is someone who no longer lets others' pain become their responsibility. Who you choose to become this year determines every outcome for years beyond. Your circle will shrink. That's actually a good sign. Elevation always requires some isolation. When you begin to rise, you won't pull everyone with you. Some will misunderstand, some will judge, some will create distance, some will harbor resentment, some will disappear entirely. Let them. Your silence will filter the room. Your standards will cleanse your environment. Only those meant for your next chapter will survive your new boundaries.
Your word becomes law. In 2026, your promises aren't hopeful wishes, they're contracts with yourself. When you say, I will show up, you show up. When you say, I will finish, you finish. When you say, I will protect my energy, you do, even if it means walking away, changing everything, losing people who benefited from your availability. This is the year where yesterday dies, and today becomes the only unit of time that matters. Routines become your armor. You won't win this year because of motivation. You'll win because of systems. Systems beat mood. Systems beat excuses. Systems beat old identity patterns. The person you want to become is waiting inside your routines, not inside your dreams. Wake time, focused work blocks, reading, reflection, movement, boundaries, solitude, screens off, sleep early. These aren't tasks, they're tools, they're weapons. They're proof that you're serious about what you want. Energy is the new currency. In 2026, you'll finally understand that money flows toward energy, not the other way around. Opportunities flow to those who are open, grounded, and disciplined. Your aura, your presence, your inner state is more valuable than any credential. Untouchable people aren't loud, they're felt. When you walk into a room this year, you won't need to say anything to be noticed. You'll be noticed because you're aligned, certain, self-created, self-owned. You no longer chase. The turning point, you stop chasing. The moment you become unstoppable is when you stop chasing. Stop chasing validation. Stop chasing answers. Stop chasing artificial timelines. Stop chasing people. Stop chasing approval. Stop chasing shortcuts. You replace chasing with choosing. Choosing where your attention goes. Choosing who gets access to you. Choosing what deserves your energy. Choosing where your future is actually built. When you stop chasing, you start attracting. Silence as leverage. While others broadcast their goals, you become the person who simply shows up. While others overshare, you become the mystery.
While others seek applause, you build results. While others try to be seen, you become undeniable. Silence isn't emptiness. Silence is strategy. Silence is leverage. Silence is where miracles happen before the world is invited to witness them. The year of no return. There are years you grow. There are years you transform. Transformation is violent, not physically, but internally. You'll feel the death of old habits, old beliefs, old fears of yourself that kept you small. You'll grieve them, but you won't go backward, because once you meet your future self, you can never pretend you don't know who you could become. 2026 is the year you cross that line. Your covenant. Whisper this to yourself. Write it down. Remember it. Embody it. I choose my silence. I choose my focus. I choose my boundaries. I choose my routine. I choose my future. I will not explain myself. I will not shrink to make others comfortable. I will not perform for approval. I will not let distraction win. I will build quietly, daily, relentlessly, because I am no longer available for who I used to be. The final image. Imagine yourself on December 31st, sitting alone in a quiet room, reflecting, breathing, smiling, because you know this year wasn't about luck or chance or random motivation. It was about decision, about discipline, about identity, about silence, about rebirth, about you. You whisper to yourself, I kept my promise. That is what makes you untouchable. Before you leave this moment, pause. Take a real breath. Feel the weight of this moment, because this is the line in your life where things quietly begin to change. You've spent years giving your attention to everything outside yourself. Opinions, noise, expectations, comparison. But the real transformation, the one that actually rewrites your life, has always started in silence, when no one is watching. From this moment onward, make a promise only you will ever hear. I choose myself. Not loudly, not publicly, but inwardly, where identity is written. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. You don't need anyone to see your rise. Because when you build in silence, you don't have to convince anyone. Your results will speak when the time is right. So ask yourself one final question. Did I live today as the person I'm becoming or the person I'm trying to leave behind? If the answer is not yet, then tomorrow is your restart, your redemption, your quiet revolution. Take this message with you. Carry it into tomorrow. Let it shape your decisions. Let it sharpen your focus. Let it remind you that you don't need permission. You only need commitment. I choose silence. I choose focus. I choose myself. And when your life changes in ways no one expects, let them wonder how you did it. Let your growth remain a mystery. Let your success be the noise.